coined by the comedian Red Skelton, who said, "Don't worry about TV. It's the best thing since sliced bread."
He was a very physical comedian. So when you think about physical comedy, you might have heard of the Three Stooges. There was a lot of physical comedy with the Three Stooges. So a lot of hitting, a lot of falling down, and so on and so on. And Red Skelton was also a physical comedian, but he was also very introspective. He was very thoughtful. And we'll have to have a clip from him later on, maybe next week. Now, I saw that Theta had used bold as brass. And that is exciting, again, because it's a British idiom. And I don't know that I would have been bold as brass to use it. And then someone else said they used salt of the earth. Maria said she used salt of the earth. That one I definitely could see myself using. Bold as brass. And honestly, I've only heard it maybe once or twice, and both of those times, bold as brass, that is, both of those times were in a British TV show. All right, the next one, stole the show. Let's see, how about Sarah, would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Slot the show, meaning was the best or attracted the most praise. Sentence, Mark stole the show with his amazing singing. Thank you.
Very good. So stole the show, for example, there have been, many years of American Idol, and there have been many years of British talent. I'm blanking on the name right now, but there have been several singers in both shows that stole the show because their talent is surprising, especially for the fact that they had not been found until that show and until they went on that show. The next one, the bee's knees, is another British idiom. Okay, let's see. Iris, would you like to read this one? Except I can't hear you, Iris. Go again. Let's try George. Give it a go.
Yes. The bee's knees, meaning the very best. Sentence, the cookies at the dessert parlor really are the bee's knees.
And that is an old saying. Some still use it. And again, that's more of a British English saying. Miles ahead. This one is used currently in America, and you might hear that in relationship to workout. And let's see, Maria, would you like to read this one?
Yes. Miles ahead, meaning much more advanced. Sentence, my new workout puts me miles ahead of just using the treadmill.
Very good. Okay. Next one, we have about 20 today. So we're not having as much reading, but we're going to get more quantity. The next one, first class. Cece, would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. First class meaning support. Sentence: the new brand store does first class job on our coffee. He makes each one a masterpiece.
So a barista, this word here, barista, is someone who is trained in making these wonderful coffee drinks that we get and pay a lot of money for. So notice that beautiful artwork that he's doing on top of the coffee. And so that is what a trained barista would bring to your coffee shop. All right, Theda, would you like to read this one?
Yes, out of this world, meaning extremely good or impressive. Sentence: the photo shows a unique perspective of the lotus flower out of this world.
And I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite photos of the lotus flower. I'm fascinated by how they did that. Okay, next up. And this is my hubby and my first granddaughter, who has this cute little dimple right there. Okay. Let's see. Hey, Yoon.
Yes. Things the word of, meaning really likes or admires. Sentence: Frank thinks the word of his granddaughter. He loves spending time with her.
And they do. She loves her grandpa and the grandpa loves her. Okay, someone you might have seen in the news recently. Andy, would you like to read this one?
World-class athletes, meaning among the best in the world. Sentence: Simone, I'm sorry.
Simone, you got it
Biles.
right.
Simone Biles is a world-class athlete. She trains for 4 hours. She trains for hours every day.
Yeah, it's not just 4. She's a pro. Anyway, here we go. Next one. Let's see. George, did you read yet? Okay, we'll go to July.
Yes, teacher. Meaning the best part of a good expression. Sentence: the wedding was okay, nothing special. The syrup on the cake was the Amazon wedding cake. Awesome wedding cake.
So the icing on the cake. The icing on the cake. So I'm sure you have bakeries and you know about cake and you know about icing. And I'll just tell you a quick funny story. My grandfather was a baker and his specialty was making wedding cakes. He made spectacular wedding cakes. He had worked for his brother. His brother owned the bakery. My uncle, so my grandfather's brother, wanted to cut costs, and this happens all the time. Cutting costs sometimes cuts quality. And the brother wanted to cut costs by not using butter anymore in the icing. So icing on the cake is a combination of butter or shortening or lard with sugar, or sometimes an addition of sour cream or cream cheese. My grandfather said to his brother, hey, let's do this for a month. You make your cakes your way with the cheaper margarine. I'll make my cakes with butter and we'll see who wins. So, who do you think won? Butter wins. The taste, the flavor, and how it stands up over time to the decorations. In this particular case, this is a new thing that's happening, and that is that they're using edible flowers in cakes today. So some of these flowers, and maybe even all of these flowers, are edible. Nasturtiums are edible. That's marigolds are edible. And so we're seeing that the icing is not the only thing on the cake. That's pretty awesome. Okay, next one. Let's see, Lynn, would you like to read this one?
Of her dreams, meaning something she has been fantasizing about. Sentence. Elisa has just moved into the house of her dreams. Amazingly, it's not far from where she works.
Very good, thank you. Next one is best of both worlds. So this is where we have two different things, very different things, and we can enjoy both of them at the same time. All right, let's see, who would like to read this one? Swam, would you like to read this one?
Sure, teacher. Best of both worlds, meaning the benefits of two different things at the same time. Sentence, even though my daughter lives in a city, they have many parks close by.
Okay, they have the best of both worlds. Let's see, that is here.
Welcome to English in a Minute. We always hope for the best possible result or outcome, but what is the best way to use this expression?
Best of both worlds. How do you like biking to work?
Oh, I love it. It's fun, and I actually get to work faster.
Wow, it seems like biking is the best of both worlds. It's fun, and in a city like DC, the fastest way to get around.
Definitely. So when are you going to get a bike? You say something is the best of both worlds if you can enjoy the benefits of two very different things at the same time. Biking is both fun and convenient, two qualities that do not always go together. And that's English in a Minute.
So just as a matter of fact, interestingly, this is New York City, but Washington, D.C. has even more traffic and more congestion than New York City. Part of the problem is that in Washington, D.C., they have a lot of diplomats. And so diplomats can actually block traffic at any time around their embassy. And so if you're going, let's say you have to pass by one of the embassies and they have a habit of closing down their street for delegates that come in, you have to bypass and go and detour and so on. So that's why having a bike in Washington, D.C. is very helpful. If you're considering going to school in Chicago, biking is also a big benefit in Chicago because Chicago itself, the city of Chicago, has made biking stations which include lockers, showers, and bikes that you can rent. So this makes you know, you take the subway into the city, then you get to the biking station. You either rent your bike or you have your bike at the biking station, and you can go out from there, or you can take a shower there, or you have a locker there. But that's one of the things in Chicago that makes that one of the best of both worlds to live in. Next one, blessing in disguise. Let's see. Blessing. And we have Blessing with us today. Welcome.
Yes, blessing in disgust, meaning something that initially seemed bad, turned out for the best. Sentence. Losing my office job was a blessing in disguise. My new job is much more interesting.
So often we get settled in a job and then it becomes routine. And when we lose one job, it may be the setup or the buildup to a better job, because you learn people, you get to know people, you've gotten to know your customers, and your customers might actually help you get the next job. So here's little one picking out a dress, and that was during COVID. Let's see. Iris, can you read this one?
Yes. Top of the line, meaning best quality sentence. Sonny's shop only sells top of the line children's clothes. Related saying, first rate, 5-star, top notch, high class, best in class.
So when you're looking for reviews, let's say you're going to go to a restaurant and you look for the reviews on there, do you go to a 2-star restaurant if you've never gone there before? Probably not. You probably look for the best restaurant or close to the best, and best quality or best price. And top of the line is where you're looking for best quality. All right, now let's see. Who else is here with us? Taiha, am I getting that right or not? Or Andy, would you like to read this one?
To die for, meaning superior quality. Sentence. The burgers at Maxine's dinner are to die for. They are huge and so juicy.
So there's a lot of these positive idioms that mean the best, the best, the best, the best, the best. Superior quality, top notch, top of the line. And all of those are, again, great quality, great quality. So that's the theme of this particular lesson, is good, or how all the different ways that you can say, oh, this is wonderful. It's more than just, this is wonderful. Okay, George, would you like to read mind-blowing?
Yes. Mind-blowing, meaning surprising, shocking, often hard to understand. Sentence. The new street gallery has a mind-blowing collection of modern art.
So when you think about mind-blowing, it came about during the psychedelic drug period. So those years in the 60s, when people were experiencing or experimenting with mind-altering drugs. So that's where this phrase came from, the period of time when they would use things like LSD, and it actually changed the way they saw things, and they would see things with halos, and they would have hallucinations and so on. So mind-blowing became a descriptive phrase that they started using. Okay, here is something that's really awesome. And I have to say, in my mind, this is mind-blowing. And that is the Aurora Borealis. I'm going to put this in the chat because I think you would probably find this very fascinating too. Who would like to read rave reviews? Let's see. Cece, would you like to read rave reviews?
Yes, teacher. Rave reviews, meaning 5-star reviews for fun performance. Sentence. The aurora borealis is a northern light phenomenon that gets rave reviews during the autumn months. Vocabulary. Phenomenon.
Very good.
A situation that is observed to exist, especially one whose cause is difficult to explain.
So the Aurora Borealis is a phenomenon that happens up in the northern countries. So this would be Canada, Alaska, Finland. If you want to go up into, Russia, you could. These are lights that occur in the atmosphere that are just awesome. And they're just about, they're not the same way twice. And some years the phenomenon is more spectacular than on other years. If you have Facebook, you can actually follow the Aurora Borealis. So just as it's spelled here, and there's actually an observatory, I believe it's in Finland, that posts pictures of the Aurora Borealis every few days. So as the phenomenon changes, as the sky changes, they post those pictures. All right, tough act to follow. Theda, would you like to read this one?
Yes, a tough act to follow, meaning so inspiring and motivational that the next act or procedure does not compare. Sentence, our posters are a tough act to follow. Their insight and caring attitude really shine.
So this is one of our pastors at our church, and he just has a very unique way of demonstrating and talking about the subject that he's talking about that day. And he has certainly an insight and caring attitude. Certainly, any presenter, anybody that comes to speak after him, definitely is a tough act to follow. All right, this one is the creme de la creme. And has anyone heard this one before? Creme de la creme.
No.
So, July, how are you today?
Good, teacher.
Would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Come to like best, meaning best of the best sentence, the creme de la. Teacher, is that a dealer?
Creme de la creme.
Oh.
It's French, but that's okay.
The creme of the fashion will walk their way up the runs, sometimes for being a seamstress and developing their design at the night.
So this is a famous fashion designer. His name is Christian Siriano. And he was actually a seamstress. He worked for one of the designers, and he developed his own designs at night, and then he entered a competition. And I can't remember if he won, but he was definitely in the tippity top. Now he's the top. And he's got all kinds of interesting things out there. Okay, let's see. Second to none. Maria, have you had a chance to read?
Second to none, meaning for better than any other sentence. Carolina's, how do you say that?
Cuisine.
Cuisine is second to none. Her dishes look beautiful and taste delicious.
Okay. And so there's quite a number of French words in the class today because they certainly are effusive about their praise. Okay, now for something completely different. So we went from really, really good, all kinds of good. And now we're going to talk about a couple of idioms that we got from the class last week, or I'm sorry, a couple of days ago. First one, my mother's idiom, and I think, did Theda bring this one up? Bone to pick with you. So I don't know if, are you able to read, Theda, while you walk?
Yeah, it's okay. Meaning to settle a dispute or source of complaint. Origin, imagine a dog chewing endlessly on bones until they are picked clean of all meat. This saying is from the 1500s when this obsession was used to describe argument that needed resolution. Such as, I have a bone to pick with your dirty laundry, is left on the floor, creating a smelly mess that is both unsightly and heterodox.
Okay, so instead of having an English in a minute, they posted an article about a bone to pick, and that's the link for that. Interesting things have happened with this saying, okay? So we've talked about crucial conversations. Having a bone to pick is an old way of saying we really need to get down to talking about some pretty tough stuff. And this would be something my mother would say to me, and I would know I was in trouble. However, there's a lot of people that still use this saying, I have a bone to pick with you. Remember, crucial conversations is where we want to talk about hard things, but we don't want to put the other person in a defensive mode. Okay, so saying this kind of a lead into a discussion might do that. So maybe approaching that conversation a little bit more gently. Can we talk? Do you have a minute to talk? Something like that. You may have other ways that you do that gently, but be on the lookout, because again, when we have cultures that mesh, like in college classes, like in a roommate situation, we will have, we will have situations that you need to sort out problems, okay? we are going to do some more of that discussion in the next few weeks. The next one, and I think, let's see. Cece, did you bring this one up? Okay, would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Hanky-panky, meaning trickery, desertion, fraud, unethical behavior. Arranging from 1841, possibly from the freaks, podcast or magic show. People gathered to watch trickery, trying to figure out how the trick was done. Sentence. When the band talent bought a new house and an expensive car, the management suspected hanky-panky and put an annual review.
So hanky-panky has evolved from being just trickery to actually meaning something more sinister. So it seems like a fun phrase, but it has come to mean and have sexual overtones. So now hanky-panky is used to insinuate or make people think of bad advances, one or the other, on that people don't want. So this would be sexual harassment, sexual overtones, conversation that leads to physical type behavior. And so while it began as trickery, deception, fraud, it has morphed and now has a more sinister meaning. So hanky-panky is not an idiom that I would use unless you were serious about reporting behavior that is or inappropriate. So not appropriate in school, not appropriate in dormitories, and so on. Okay, so we have had like 22 idioms today. Let me stop sharing. And we've had quite a lot of idioms this week. So totally, between the two classes, the one on Thursday and the one today, 40 idioms. Was your mind being blown? Is that a lot? Should we back up and only maybe do 10 or 15 like we did before, but have more information?